All right, I do not have a script. I'm just gonna try and film this all in one take. My room's slowly getting hotter by the second because I'm in Arizona and I have to turn the air conditioning off for audio. So you're probably just gonna see me slowly get heat stroke, but you know what? I have a tier list, I have my chai. Let's just have fun with it, you know? Also, for A tier and above, I think I'm just going to include spoiler warnings and have dedicated spoiler sections, but before that, I just really don't think it's that big of a deal, and I want to talk about the twists and turns because I think they're really funny to talk about with some of these, so keep that in mind. First up, we got A Husband I Didn't Expect, and this one is genuinely awful. It's about a girl who wakes up with amnesia from the past 2 years, and she's married to this guy that was her enemy. So it's kind of like, oh, they had an enemies to lovers arc and she just doesn't remember it, which is an interesting idea, except as time goes on, it just implies more and more that this guy is just gaslighting her and they weren't in love and he just made it up. I'm guessing it was going to go the route of they actually had an enemies to lovers arc, but they just teased this idea of him gaslighting her for so long, and I really stuck with this one. I didn't finish it, but it was just uncomfortable to read, and I did not like it. Then we got It Wasn't Love at First Sight, about a girl who, she has to get married, so she goes on a blind date, and surprise, this guy is actually awesome and really cool, and then they get married and he ends up being like a mob boss or something and like super violent and mean to her. He ends up having feelings for her, so then it turns into him biting for her affection while she's like pushing him away because he was like abusive. No. I have a feeling anyone who knows Webtoons is going to know this one and knows why I'm putting it in this tier. Unlovable Replacement. This one is perfectly like adequate. It is C tier, B tier slop for quite a while. It's like 150 chapters or something of just fine, like kind of dramatic stuff. It has so many cliches back to back. But you know, it works. And then the third season came out, which Webtoons have seasons. It's a whole thing. I don't know how to explain it. It just does like a 10-year time skip where they hate each other now, and it just resets the status quo, except now it's in an office instead of college. He's just like making her uncomfortable, and she's forced to be there. It's really weird, and I don't like it. Her name's like November too, or is it September? I don't know. It's like just a random thing. There's not really... I hate this one. I hate it. That is it for the bottom tier. We are moving on to F tier, which despite how F tier sounds, I want to make it clear, I don't hate these ones. There's a few that I'm even still reading, but I don't think they're great. The first one is one that I am still reading. It's on break right now, but I will keep reading. Singles Royale. The idea for this one is just that good. The execution is so weird though. It is 3 girls who decide to put a pot of money down for basically whoever I think moves in with a guy or like gets engaged to a guy first, that one takes all the money. How fun. So basically it's 3 romances happening at the same time, but the romances are all like super generic cliches while also being extremely specific. Like the most generic one is just a friends, like childhood friends to lovers thing, except the girl's main conflict is that she's Christian and doesn't want to have sex till marriage, which is just specific. I don't know, that just feels weird for a character conflict more than anything. Like she doesn't have much characterization outside of that. And then there's a teacher who has like terrible luck with men and then ends up dating one of her ex-students, which her conflict is, I'd say, pretty good of like pushing away from that because that's kind of weird. It's done in a pretty believable way, I feel, of like the characters pushing away from it. It's still kind of weird, but I'd say that's probably my favorite romance of the 3. There's the main girl right here, purple hair, who decides to fake date this guy, except they just aren't fake dating, like, well, I don't know, they're just making out in private. Like, and the guy's suggesting it and then being like, oh, we're just fake dating. That's not fake dating. You're not doing that for anybody. You're just making out. I don't understand. And then the girl very quickly just gets feelings for the guy, which, I mean, usually fake dating's like a slow burn. I guess I don't hate it, but the thing I do hate is that she immediately turns to AI, like, and starts asking questions, and it's so baffling how every chapter she's in, she just keeps using ChatGPT to ask all her romance questions to. The main reason I'm still reading it at this point is just because the comments every time are just like, what the hell is she doing? Why is she using AI so much? Oh, it's kind of great. It kind of gives me more faith in humanity just seeing these like hundreds of comments of people just hating on AI in a romance webtoon. It's kind of awesome. Okay, I'm gonna include these two together. We have Our Night Shift and I've Fallen for the Empire's Greatest Villainess. I don't remember reading these. Apparently I did. I have no recollection of them, so I'm assuming they just aren't that memorable. In Between. This one is fine. It's like childhood friends to lovers trope. And this guy disappeared for like 5 years and then he's back in her life, except it's like her mom just allowed him to move in with them. And so it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable because they live in the same house and shenanigans ensue. It's fine. There's just one part I really don't like, which is where they get drunk together and then she wakes up with no memories of the night before and he's just like, it'd be really funny if I just led her on to think that something happened between us, like they hooked up, even though they didn't. That's weird. I don't like that. F tier, yeah. Next up, Girlfriend with a space in between. This one I thought had potential. I made it 2 chapters in. The thing that really starts the plot moving is this guy and this girl he's been friends with his whole life going into high school, and he shows up and suddenly over the summer she's become like super attractive to him, right? It's pretty generic plot, except the reason she is so attractive now is because she got plastic surgery on her eyes to make them bigger. She's 14. I don't like that. That makes me really, what the, no, F tier. Maybe F tier. I don't know, I feel bad putting it that low since I didn't read that far, but you know what, yeah, maybe, I'll put it in between. I'll put it in between. In Between, that's the name of the other one. Oh my God, ain't that something? How Far Can We Go? This is another one of girl has to get married, goes on blind date, sees guy that she really likes, except I don't really remember much. I think I dropped it though at the reveal. Like a lot of these webtoons have this trope where they met each other before they actually met and they didn't even know each other back then, but like there's some part of their past that's interconnected. And this one had, I think she was at an orphanage and then she found him beaten up by some guy. It was like really melodramatic and really complicated. And as I'm talking, I'm remembering, yeah, she got adopted by a family who then realized that she wasn't actually their daughter. And then they found their actual daughter. And so they just kind of neglected the main girl. And then it turns out that the actual daughter cheated the DNA test. I don't know, it was weird. It's really complicated and hard to explain. I think it's fine. I don't have any strong feelings for this one, I guess, besides like, it's too much. It's too much. And I don't care about the characters enough to follow it. Castaway Marriage. This one is kind of ridiculous. It's about a girl who just like goes on a vacation and then the cruise ship just leaves without her. And then she runs into another guy who's stranded on this island. She's like, before I die, I want to, you know, like hook up with somebody. And so they just hook up a ton while they're stranded on this island until they're found like a month later. Most of it is them on mainland. This guy, who it turns out is like super rich. And so she's like, okay, the island little like relationship, I think they got married. She's like, that doesn't count because he's super rich. He's going off to his life while he is fully invested. He is like, this counts, which is a plot I really like. However, then it turns into him hiring her as a maid and just not being forward with his emotions. And it's just weird. It's such a good idea. I think this one goes in F tier more for disappointment than anything else. It should probably go in like D or C tier, but next up we got Sweet Whispers. This one is about a girl who's like on the subway, and then a modeling agent guy goes like, oh my god, this girl's so hot, and hires her as a model, and then is also into her. It feels kind of wish fulfillment-y of like this girl who's like extremely modest and doesn't have this huge life suddenly gets spotted by this guy, and her life opens up to a huge extreme, and it's a lot of like everyone who's mean to her gets this karmic justice done by this super rich guy. It's just a lot, and I just didn't find it that like I just couldn't get that invested. Ugly Duckling Complex. I genuinely don't remember what the plot hook for this one is. It's just a very generic high school romance of girl going, no way, popular guy likes me, and popular guy likes her. It's fine. The only real issue with it, and the reason it's going in F tier, is because most of the drama is done by her best friend who likes the guy and puts the main girl in increasingly dangerous situations to try and earn the affection of main guy, including, I dropped it when the friend put the main girl in a situation where she was at like genuine risk of being kidnapped and like human what? And then the friend keeps going with these schemes. Hey, we've been doing this for like 30 chapters. I just kind of want to see them get together now. But they had good chemistry. I can't with that friend. Oh, and then the guy also knows about the friend's schemes and doesn't want to tell main girl because he doesn't want to ruin their friendship. Like, no, this girl's insane. Oh god. Perfect Contract. This one is just, I mean, it hits every cliche of like fake dating. They write up, you know, a contract of all the rules while they slowly fall for each other. I don't know, I think halfway through it just really hits this weird point of them both liking each other and just not really doing anything about it and just like yearning silently, which I guess that's realistic. It wasn't super engaging, and then when like he actually started making moves, but it seemed a little dicey consent-wise, like it made me uncomfortable. I don't know. F tier. And now we're on to D tier. For the most part, I would say it's just pretty generic. Nothing too special, but there are good parts. Our Secret Marriage. This one is, I would say, very generic. Girl has to get married, and then it's super rich guy, and she's like, I want to keep going to college, and then super rich guy's really hot. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, am I getting this confused with other ones? Because the ones, D tier ones, I would say really just blend together with similar cliches and tropes. It doesn't do a whole lot that's original. So, Our Secret Marriage. There you go. Not your typical reincarnation story. This one is pretty good, honestly. Maybe I should move it up to C tier. It's a girl who gets isekai'd into a book where she is now the antagonist. Basically, she's paired up with the second male lead. Shoot, I gotta draw a graph for this one. So first, we have the main girl of the book, okay? She is blonde. And then there's the main girl of the webtoon. She has red hair. This is our main character. But it does all the like romance cliches with this girl, with the main girl of the book, with blonde, red. Blonde girl, there's two male leads, okay? So there's male lead 1, male lead 2, okay? They both have blue hair, the same shade of blue. Now red and blue, we're gonna call him Bluey. Red and Bluey are forced to be wed, so they're married now. And the plot of the book is that she's a villain, and blonde girl like likes them both and is trying to pick, and Bluey ends up sacrificing himself for her by killing Red and himself, okay? But this girl who is isekai'd and is Red wants to stop that from happening because she doesn't want to die. So her whole thing is the romance between her and Bluey. It's pretty cool. But Blonde ends up being the author of the book who also isekai'd in because she hates her life. And so the villain ends up like going meta and into the Matrix and is pulling women from the real world into the book to be Red. And the main girl is like the 50th attempt at trying to fix the story and give Red a good ending. Is this making any sense? I really hope so. They end up having like 2-3 kids. It's crazy. So yeah, you know what? Trying to explain that, it endeared me more. We're gonna put it in C tier. I can't, with a good heart, put not your typical reincarnation story in D tier. I just can't. Operation True Love. This one is fantastic. I love this one. It is about a girl who learns that there is this like system in place that tracks exactly how many people will love somebody. So like everyone has a number of how many people are going to love them in their lifetime. And this girl has 0. She is literally unlovable. And so this company that is tracking the amount of people that fall in love realizes that she is an anomaly. They're going to assassinate her. They're going to assassinate her, so she has to get a boyfriend or die. That's Operation True Love. This one is really fantastic. I loved it. So you're probably wondering, why are we jumping up to S tier already? This sounds fantastic. Well, season 3 Curse. You see, after 2 seasons of this like love triangle of, oh, who's this girl gonna pick between these 2 guys? She picks male lead 1, everything is great. Male lead 1 ghosts her for 10 years. They pull an unlovable replacement. We skip to 10 years later where they have not spoken. It just kind of resets the status quo, and it seems to all be just to give male lead 2 another chance, which is a better reason than unlovable replacement, hence why it's higher. Also, I really do like the second male lead in this. In unlovable replacement, the characters just kind of fell apart and stopped moving forward with their life after their relationship ended, which just feels weird. This time skip actually matters, and these people are in very different places in their lives and they act differently because of it, and that is pretty cool to see. Still though, very annoying, and it could have just ended with season 2 and it would have been great. That feels wrong. Oh, I don't want to put in D tier. They were going to assassinate her, and the only way to save her was to do character assassination on him by making him disappear for 10 years. My naughty deity. Girl falls in love with actual Greek god Dionysus. Except he's like just a hot bartender. What could I possibly say about this? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of like gods and the rules with them. Dionysus's backstory of being immortal. I feel like she has very little characterization. It's a weird one. D tier for deity. For Dionysus. God damn it, that's so much better. All right, well, I'm not doing a retake of that. My Lucky Strike. This is about a girl who really likes this guy, male lead number 1. But then there's this other guy who's like kind of into her, but like more of a friend, so male lead 2. Very, very traditional love triangle, pretty cliche, except guy 1 just sucks and he's just leading her on because reasons, and he's just the worst. And guy 2's pretty cool. There's not a whole lot to it, honestly. You know, it's a fun one. Season 2 came along. It's just the girl and guy 2 actually getting together, and we get guy 2's backstory. He's just a very like silent type, and there was nothing about him that I was like, oh, he's got some like deep-seated trauma. Like he just seemed like a normal guy, and so it kind of came out of left field, and I kind of lost interest. I just felt melodramatic for the sake of it. D tier. I thought my time was up. This girl has magic cancer or something. It's a fantasy one. It's like medieval. I don't remember a whole lot about this one. The girl ends up not having magical cancer, but I think she doesn't tell male lead. What happens in this one? I don't know. She has magic cancer, and then she has magic, and then there's like the second male lead who's just like really hot, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like the Pope or something. What happens in this one? I don't know. All right. Humanoido. This is about a high school girl who is like autistic coded. There's this other guy who's autistic coded, except, oh, he's a robot. And so they end up trying to find, you know, they figure out where does he come from? Because he came from a laboratory, but then, I don't know, he came from the future. And I'm gonna be honest, this thing's over. I read it all the way through to its entirety. I kept up. I wanna say there were like a good few months where I was reading it week to week with everybody else. I have no clue where he came from still. I think that she goes on to become a robotics engineer to invent this guy to send him back in time to date her high school self. It becomes a time loop because she then builds the guy off of the guy she dated in high school. I don't know, there's kind of like a Pinocchio thing going on where he's becoming a real boy, and then he leaves, and her character arc is getting better at like public speaking. Of course, you know, inventing the robot and creating the time loop, but the final moment of the story is really her giving a good public speech. I do like this one a lot. We might move it to C tier in a bit, depending on how I feel. Oh my God, we have so many more to go. Addicted to You. This one is about a world with superpowers where people without superpowers are oppressed. These 2 kids are like childhood best friends, and then one of them dies in a fire. The other one becomes like an assassin to assassinate people with superpowers, and the guy shows back up and he has more superpowers than anybody else and he's like crazy strong. I don't really know what to say about it. It like got to action scenes and it's like, oh, how are they gonna get out of this one? And then it's like, whoa, he has white fire? That's the hottest fire there is. It's like, okay, and then she has a gun. D tier. Down to Earth. It's about a guy who's like kind of a bum and then an alien lands in his backyard. It's just Starfire from Teen Titans. I will say it does a pretty good job of like the first while is her getting adjusted to Earth before they even do like a romance. So it's not just alien girl lands and falls for the most normal guy that's there first. It's just this guy is so generic, so in tune with Earth that she ends up falling for him, which is what happens with a lot of like girl is alien. Wow, that really is like a cliche with like there's a few examples of it, but it does a pretty good job of navigating it. They get together and I just don't find it super interesting. I feel like she doesn't have great character development going forward of what exactly like she's doing on Earth and what exactly she's doing with like her life. Like she doesn't get to anywhere I would say super meaningful. I kind of dropped after a bit, so maybe it's gotten better. I don't know, but we're gonna put it, I do like the first while of it. We're gonna put it in C tier. Back to Chombi's Insane. It's a high school romance where this guy and girl kind of like each other. They're a little flirty, but you know, they're teenagers, so they're just kind of slowly making moves on each other. It's like nothing crazy. This guy ends up just really enjoying that of this super popular girl, like trying to hit on him and getting super flustered and stuff. And he ends up dragging this out for a while without like asking her out or making it clear that he likes her too. He hits her head, gets amnesia, forgets that she ever liked him. He's just left there liking this girl who doesn't remember liking him, and she's like super popular, so no one believes him. It is kind of fun of like a good karma thing, and I feel like it's a good lesson for people to learn of just like, yeah, don't drag this out just to have that feeling, like that nice feeling of someone liking you. Like actually make a move, do something. They might hit their head and get amnesia and forget they ever liked you is a really funny way to go about that. But I'll say also the drama in this one, it is really good at keeping it like drawn out in a good way. Immediately another guy swoops in and tries to take advantage of her amnesia and gaslight her into thinking they were together. So the main guy doesn't want to tell her that she had feelings for him because he doesn't want to take advantage like that guy did. The drama here, it is good. Like there is reason why he isn't being honest with his feelings, and it's very believable. They got together and I kind of lost interest, which I feel like I've been saying that a lot. I swear that's not like what I normally do. With the ones up here, once they get together, I love it. But I don't know, I just feel like there wasn't anything else interesting to keep me hooked after they got together. So we're gonna put this in C tier. Can't Get Enough of You. This is about this like super rich guy who works at a company, except oh no, he's traumatized because his parents died in a drunk driving accident. Then he learns that the daughter of the guy who was drunk driving and killed his parents works at his company. He just decides to torture this woman, only to learn that she's estranged from her father. I don't really remember how, but they end up dating. I did kind of lose interest after they started dating, but I love bringing this one up because that is an insane synopsis of the plot. I think I stopped reading it because he ended up learning that her dad died without her knowing, because again, they were estranged, and then just didn't want to tell her. Why? That feels weird. Don't keep that a secret. D tier. Aesop's Romance. This one, rich CEO, again, which I think it's becoming clear. I'm not like a huge fan of guy is rich CEO. I feel like it's just weird power dynamics, and this one especially is pretty bad. The girl is like a high-ranking executive who then basically gets demoted to his assistant, but it's seen as a promotion because he's so high-ranking. Also, I should make it clear, all of the guys who are rich CEOs are nepo babies. Like their dad, they inherited the company, and it's the same with Aesop. It's fine. I think the romance is pretty believable. The power dynamic, it's kind of balanced by the fact that she's just more confident in herself and he has zero experience, but then it gets to the point of revealing that she also has zero experience. So then again, it's back to, yeah, he's just her boss. They actually get together and there's like some weird scenes, and I dropped it after that. I don't know. The power dynamic got too weird. D tier. Marriage Under Wraps. I am fully caught up with this one, which isn't saying much because there's literally 4 chapters out as of recording. There isn't a lot to talk about. It is she has to get married to somebody. Oh my God, it's her ex-boyfriend who ghosted her. And it's implying that he actually has trauma and that's why he ghosted her. Okay. I'm going to keep reading though because I like his character a lot. I feel like they have to live together, and I feel like he is very understanding and like sets pretty clear boundaries. Like, it's nice to see. I like that he's not actively making her uncomfortable. Well, despite the situation of him being her ex-boyfriend. But yeah, it's fine. Again, only 4 chapters though, so we'll see. C tier. Next up, we got Tears on a Withered Flower. Webtoon really likes to advertise this one, which is pretty annoying, but the story is fine. It's about a girl leaving an abusive relationship, which I will say that her husband, the actual abuser, is shockingly well written. It portrays like his insecurities and why he does the terrible stuff he does really well. Which is weird because then it gets to the main guy, her love interest. I just don't want to root for him. He's weird and like, I think he's supposed to be mysterious and aloof, but he comes across as kind of creepy, maybe a little manipulative at times to get this girl. I just don't see, like, the whole point is that this girl is supposed to leave her husband to go with this guy, but I don't see this guy as like an obviously better alternative. He's also weird. She should just be single, I think. D tier. Press play, Sammy. This one is super interesting. It is this girl who like comes from a rich family, and now her parents died and she's like super poor. And so a lot of it is just her trying to make ends meet. And then there's the actual love interest themselves, which that I can remember there's 3. There's main guy who just isn't that interesting. He doesn't have a lot going for him. And then there's second guy who is introduced as, I gotta pull out the graph again, hold on. Okay, main girl. And then there is male lead 1. Her parents die and she ends up getting cut off from the family by her uncle, okay? Now, male lead 1's dad is this uncle's lawyer, and like that's their connection. Well, they go to high school together. This is where the drama comes from. Because she is uncomfortable around his dad. There's not a lot to this plot line. It's not that interesting to read, which is why male lead 1 just isn't that interesting, which that seems to be like the end game couple we're supposed to root for, and I just don't, I don't know. I stopped reading this one, especially when like male lead 1 became the focus, because I just don't find him that. And then we have male lead 2, who is introduced as a gay man who likes male lead 1, okay? They are best friends. He doesn't know that male lead 2 likes him, okay? But then male lead 2 befriends main girl, Sammy, and they become like a little trio, only for male lead 2 to realize that maybe he's not as gay as he thought, as he develops a crush on main girl, which is interesting. I think that the webtoon actually handles that shockingly well. I mean, they're teenagers, and it is an interesting plotline for somebody to realize more of their own sexual orientation. This plotline doesn't really go anywhere though. I kind of respect them for even trying it. Male lead 3, who is just the worst, and we hate him. Everyone hates him. He's really the reason I stopped reading, right? He just harasses this woman. Like, just says weird stuff that she was like prettier before. He's just like really committed to her for seemingly no reason. Changes schools to go to her new school, and is just stalking her and harassing her, and it's played as half a bit and half like, damn, this guy's pretty persistent. Isn't that cool? No, he's weird. I don't like it. Where's my eraser? This video is exhausting. I'm putting this one in, honestly, D tier. Next up, we got Prize of Youth. This one is about a girl who's just, she's like well renowned for being the best at group projects, or just like projects in general. She does a bunch to earn money. There's like a massive high school group project and everyone wants to be on her team. She ends up getting her team of ragtag misfits together. They try to discover the prize of youth, which is like the topic. I stuck with it for a pretty long time. It's cool to just see this friend group develop. I'll probably read it once there's like just more out and I can just binge through it. Principal, or the vice principal, who's like the one grading these presentations, it very quickly becomes apparent that the only thing he's looking for is romance as like the prize of youth. These group projects are just supposed to be them dating each other, and that's how you win. You know what? It is a webtoon, and that's what we're here for. I guess it works. C tier. Random Target. This one is about a VR dating app where you're randomly assigned to people, and this girl decides to go on it just for fun. She gets anonymously matched with this guy. They end up hitting it off, all that. Turns out it's her boss, who she hates. She doesn't recognize it because her boss wears glasses, and he can't wear glasses in the VR world because they don't fit on his VR headset, which is really funny thinking about it, because that does imply that it's doing like a full body scan, putting you in exactly as you are while wearing the headset. The main memorable part about this though has to be the second male lead, her guy best friend, who it turns out is the one who made Random Target. He is like the CEO, he is the head of it, he is the lead programmer. He made the entire thing just to confess to her. He just made this whole thing in the hopes that they get randomly matched together. For some reason, he had years of time, and he spent it all making a VR dating app instead of just like talking to her. That's insane. She uses the dating app to find the guy she ends up with, and he's pissed about it. I think it ends with like them not being friends, which I really like, because that is really weird for a guy to do. Don't do that. Yeah, my audience is mostly men. Men, don't do that. Don't make a VR dating app. Not even to impress someone, just don't do it. There's a lot to unpack there. Also, there's a third guy on this, and I cannot for the life of me remember who that is. Or I have no recollection of this third guy. I thought there's just the two guys. I didn't hate it though. The main couple's romance is pretty good. C tier. Random Target really marks us getting into the insane shit, which I'm really excited for, because now we're at, what is it? Electrifying Confession, which is about a girl with a heart disorder where if her heart beats too much, she will just like collapse or die or something, and has to go to the hospital all the time. She has like a huge crush on this guy, and then she ends up getting cursed to where if her heart rate goes up too high, not only will she like faint and potentially die, she'll also shoot out electricity, like Electro. The main conflict is her avoiding this guy she has a crush on so that she doesn't like fry somebody. This other guy comes in and ends up helping her with that because he, for some reason, just knows all about this curse, and it's later revealed that he liked this girl who also had the curse for a different guy, who liked a different guy, and he helped her only for her not to reciprocate his feelings because she liked the guy. Yeah, this guy starts to like main girl, who is the second person to have these electricity powers, but he's stopping himself because he doesn't want a repeat of what happened last time, only for main girl to slowly start falling for him more because I just remembered. They end up holding hands a bunch in order to stop her electricity powers to like calm her down. But one day it just like switches where suddenly holding his hand makes her heart rate shoot up. And now he's the risk to her electricity powers. He doesn't understand why she's just avoiding him. It's insane. This is wild. Not S tier. Whoa, got ahead of myself. C tier. How to Hold His Leash. This is one about this girl who hates her boss. Everyone hates this boss. He's just rude to everybody, nepo baby once again, all that. Everybody hates him and calls him a certain word behind his back for a female dog. A fairy comes in and goes, everyone seems to think you are like a female dog, so now you're going to be a dog. This girl has to take care of him because he's a dog. And they end up falling in love, not while he's a dog. It like becomes werewolf rules where the nicer he is as a person, the more he's allowed to be a human. It's pretty great, not gonna lie. There's a second male lead who's like a childhood best friend to this girl who like comes back into her life and goes like, wow, you're spending a lot of time with this boss who turns into a dog. He decides to turn into a dog himself. He ends up cursing himself to turn into a dog. And this woman's like, I guess I have to take care of him now. He ends up like abusing the situation to get her to cuddle him. It's really weird. I think I stopped reading at that point. C tier, I guess? The second male lead's so weird. I'm putting it down to D tier. Ah, God, but the first male lead is so funny. The plot, I'm putting it in between. Frozen Hearts. This one is about an ice demon who goes in disguise as like the only daughter of this clan who completely died out, not like a real person. Since she's the only daughter, she gets a palace to herself, only for this prince to show up who is like literally, I think he's called like the prince who kills demons. And he shows up and just starts asking her to get married, and she's like, no, that would ruin her whole disguise. He just keeps asking. She realizes it would be really suspicious if she kept saying no, because he is like, you know, the prince of the land. So they get married and she has to hide it. She doesn't hide it for super long. He ends up figuring it out really quickly, but she's a good person and he trusts her. And so it's pretty sweet. It's pretty wholesome. There's also like whole plot line of him being exiled from the throne. So I think like second half after they get together is really about getting the throne back. It has a surprisingly complex, or not complex, but it's a pretty engaging magic system. And I enjoyed seeing the fights more than I thought I would. So yeah, C tier. We are up to B tier now, and we're gonna start off with Girlfriend Manual. This one is pretty good, I like it. It's most of the plot, at like the first half of it, is this girl just trying to figure out if this barista she has a crush on is also a lesbian. And I find that to be really compelling. I don't know. The plot, I feel like there's just a lot of drama with it, which is why it's at B tier. It's not really an easy read. I feel like it's a lot of back and forth, a lot keeping them from being together. They're both so traumatized. So I think it will probably be something where reading it in its totality from start to finish, it will be great. But right now with where it's at, B tier with it. Locked Onto You, which is about a woman who's a police detective who's obsessed with her work because when she was younger, the man she was supposed to marry died in a bus crash. She just buries herself in work, and one day when she's on a mission, she sees a guy who's identical to the man she was supposed to marry, and then becomes just super invested in figuring out why these people look identical. And this guy clearly knows the answer. He knows exactly why. He just drags it on for the entire webtoon. He's also a rich CEO because of course he is. The actual reveal is that he is the guy's secret twin brother who she didn't know about because he had like a heart disorder and was hospitalized for all of his life. And so when his twin brother died, he got a heart transplant. And so he has the twin brother's heart, which is why he has feelings for her. That's like the actual, that's like, he says that. He says that. That's what he claimed. They get married happily ever after. Fantastic. B tier. Love that one. Love for a Walk. This one's pretty cute. It's about two neighbors who just run into each other because they both have dogs and then they both have trauma and exes. It's pretty good. I'm more of a cat person. Them talking about how much they love their dogs, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't have a dog, I have a cat. And now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I could just like read it and replace dog with cat in my brain. I might reread it and then If I might move it up. In my head, I'm not doing an update of this video. This is a one and done. Love Bites. Have you ever thought about what would happen if Edward and Jacob from Twilight just started making out? This author did. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I would have it higher up, but I don't know. It's like some of the characters are super well written and super engaging. The main guy, Cedric. I think that's the first time I'm remembering a name. I read this one really recently. Cedric. Oh my God, that's not his name. That's his brother's name. God damn it. Okay, well, I like Cedric, his brother, anyways. They have this whole thing about like werewolf killed their mom, which were feral werewolves. They can go feral on full moons. I don't know. The werewolf guy, Mason. The weirdest part about this has to be his alpha complex, which is what he actually calls it. He's the alpha wolf and thus needs to have control over people. So he's just inherently manipulative. Near the end of the webtoon though, they kind of address it, saying that he's just a teenager who likes having control over situations, which I like. Like they were just saying the alpha complex isn't real, he just made that up. Which I kind of like. That feels like a very like, a teenager would just say, God, diagnose himself with an alpha complex instead of just saying they have control issues. Yeah, it works. It's just business. This is about girl who's, you know, obsessed with her work. She doesn't have time for dating. And then two dating prospects come into her life. One is a member of like a different branch who's like equal level as her. And the other is a new intern that she ends up learning way later on is actually the grandson of the head of the company. So just like Nepo baby. And so she writes him off completely. And then it turns out he's actually pretty competent at his job. It's just cute. I probably would have it higher, but this is Nepo baby propaganda. And you know what? I might put in C tier just for that. I just checked. I'm going to go ahead and say that from this point on, there will be no more Nepo baby propaganda in this tier list, so rejoice. Next up, we got Introverted Us. Two introverts. Everybody loves the guy because he's so hot and aloof, and everybody hates the girl because she keeps to herself. I would rank it higher because I really like the two main characters' chemistry, but it's one of those things where it's slowly introducing more and more characters that I don't think really need to be there, and it feels like it's just padding out the plot. It feels like it's stalling the main actual romance I'm here for, so B tier. Daily JoJo. I don't think this is even a romance webtoon. I didn't get that far into C because there were ads on every single chapter because that's how webtoon is with completed series. But what I did read, I really enjoyed. The girl's very relatable. Two people who work in an office. The guy very much cares about what he looks like. Meal prepping, always thinking about making tomorrow easier. The girl is screwing herself over for tomorrow every day, which, yeah, that's relatable. So for that, B tier. Date a Ranker. I love telling people about this one. It's hilarious. It's not a comedy, but just the plot hook, the main initial idea is so funny. This girl is ridiculously good at this one like MMO RPG game and is like the best in the world. Everybody knows about her. This streamer guy ends up challenging her to a tournament, like a duel or something, and she beats him like really bad and he cries on stream. So she goes to school the next day and she's like completely anonymous. Nobody knows who she is. And she sees that she is in class with that streamer that she made cry because she beat him so bad. They're the couple. How do you come up with that? What? Oh, God, it's pretty great. I feel like they get together surprisingly quick. There is a second male lead that's really funny. His whole gimmick is that he looks exactly like her character in the game, who she just designed the hottest guy she could imagine. I'm sure, I guess. He doesn't stand a chance against the main guy, which is crazy. Plot has just kind of become what she wants to do with the rest of her life because she just likes playing video games, and the guy's like, you should be a streamer, you would get 1 million views. We're getting into the territory now where after the couple gets together, the story's still good because it focuses on what the person wants to do with their life, how the romance and being in this relationship helps them get to that point. I really like to see it. This one probably does it the least well of the ones we'll be talking about, but it's still just nice to see. I feel like this is what romances are really all about. Mistake. This one, I don't know what country this takes place in. It's supposed to be like a very conservative place. I think it's based on the real country that the author lives in. I just cannot remember which one. But it's about this guy and girl who are grouped together for a project, and they kind of like, there's something there. They both kind of have a crush on each other. They walk in on the principal's son hooking up with some girl in the library. It's just like a really conservative country, so premarital sex is like looked down upon so much that the principal's son ends up framing these, the main guy and girl for a hooking up, which leads their families to basically force them to get married in order to not put shame on their families. It's crazy. It's not like super wholesome. I mean, it just kind of makes me really sad to read. The main characters are really sweet, but I don't know. It's just something about like seeing these two kids kind of get their whole life derailed as they have to drop out of college and get jobs in order to support themselves and each other. It's so messed up. It makes me really upset. Look, really good. Not what I read romance for. Maybe it should go in A tier for that exact reason though. It just made me really sad. I'm gonna put it in between. X Love Review. I love this one. This is ongoing. One of my personal favorites. I think it's on break right now, but I'm reading this week to week every time there's a new chapter. It is about a girl who dates terrible men. Consistently, and she dates this one guy who gives her like a cheap little promise ring or something, cheats on her and pushes her down a staircase. And when she wakes up in the hospital, the ring has given her magical powers to see Yelp reviews on everybody from their exes. So like everyone gets a star rating of how good of a partner they are. This barely has any bearing on the plot. The main male lead ends up being this guy who's like seen as a complete player, dates everybody, has like, I think half a star rating, and it's just women constantly being like, what the hell is this guy even doing? He goes on dates and then just hates the people he's going on dates with and isn't nice to them and is really rude. Turns out the guy just cannot say no. He is so terrified of saying no to anybody. He's just so hot and people keep asking him out and he can't say no to them, and they get really upset and leave a bad review. The guy and this girl end up like fake dating. I can't even remember why, but then he ends up actually falling for her for once. He actually likes a girl. Yeah, it's cute. Ends up going some dark places that I don't think I could even talk about it on YouTube without getting demonetized. So yeah, it's a crazy one. Again, the magic system just, there's barely a reason for it, and that is hilarious. B tier. Love Cycle. This one is an 6-person love hexagon. It goes in a full circle where she likes him, he likes her, she likes him, he likes her. Yeah, like you get it. It goes in a full circle. I kind of love it because I mean, it's an immediate thing. It's like, yeah, this is gonna be over the top, melodramatic. There's a lot going on here. It's a lot of fun. One of the couples get together and then it just ends. There's a time skip and now they're just kind of all together. What? I have no clue. So one thing I'll say is that the reasons they all like each other at the beginning, the kind of reasons that they grow out of liking each other, is really compelling. The main girl likes this guy because their moms are best friends. Her mom has been telling her her entire life that she's gonna get with this other guy so that like they're actually family. Just has it like in her head, and it's really hard for her to break out of that. And I'm like, that is a very compelling reason for her to like somebody that's not meant to be. And it works. B tier. Wedding Strategy. I love this one. This is another insane plot. This girl realizes that she is in a time loop. Every time she gets married, she is reset back 10 years? Not specifically 10 years. It is like this one point in time. She just gets married for the first time and is sent back 10 years. From there, she just kind of keeps going through this time loop, spends a bunch of money, is having fun in this like torture cycle hell until she goes on this blind date with this guy. I'll just marry him and go on. And then the guy's like, I'm in the time loop too. I know how to break out of it though, but we have to go back to high school. And she's like, how do we do that? And he shoots her with a gun and then shoots shoots himself. And they're back at their high school graduation. They are both the same person, just gender swapped. They have the exact same backstory. They went to the same high school. They had the same friends, have like their love interests who are just kind of like gender swap versions of each other, or like not specifically gender swap. There are differences between them. I think the guy has 3 female love interests and then the girl has 3 male love interests. Called wedding strategy because the whole thing is they have to get with one of those love interests. They have to get with their main love interest. They can't just get married to a random person. They get married to their main love interest, then they will like break out of the cycle. Eventually they get with each other. They break out of the cycle. It turns out they were in the Matrix. They were in a VR simulation dating game, which kind of works with the time loop thing. That is how a dating game works. They fall in love with each other. They die in the simulation. They grow old, are out of the simulation. Time moves slower in the simulation. Ends with them both awkwardly going on a date because they've just spent 80 years together in this VR simulation. They know each other better than anybody. And now they're in the real world. And it's like, okay, we should get together, but also we don't know anything about each other outside of our fake backstories in the game. I love this one. Yeah, screw it, A tier. Wanna be friends. This one is just solid. It is 2 people who struggle to make friends. Girl just decides it's high school. She's gonna try harder. Walks up to someone and asks, wanna be friends. He's weirded out by it, but he's like, fine. Or no, he's not weirded out. He's deaf, so he doesn't hear her. Misunderstandings ensue. It is mostly about them overcoming their social anxieties, talking to people better, being better friends, getting friends. It's kind of the last arc where they realize they like each other, and it's a pretty good bookend to it. I like seeing them grow as people until finally they're like ready for a actual relationship with each other. It's really nice to see. That's like a high B tier. Like I'm gonna put that in between. Romance 101. This one is just super solid. It is I believe college romance. It's a while since I read it. I think it's just a lot of cliches and tropes, but it's done extremely well. There's not a lot to talk about. There's not a lot to hate. I didn't actually finish it. The ads definitely hampered my enjoyment. So I'm gonna put it in B tier, but know that it probably would be higher if not for ads. That's what my gut's saying. Rules for dating trash. This girl's like got a bad history with guys. Her last boyfriend was the worst and like, derailed her entire life. She runs into this guy who just seems like the worst, but he's actually a good guy with a heart of gold. You know, it's cute. Sure, B tier. KO. I like this one a lot. It is about a guy who's like a delinquent. Everyone thinks he's super scary. And then this one girl is nice to him. He immediately falls in love with her. She says like her type of guy. It's some like pop star idol, I think. There's also a boxer with the same name that the guy like looks it up, sees the boxer and is like, okay, I guess, and joins the boxing club. He has a crush on this girl still. That's not the focus. It's mostly about him learning how to box, just getting more friends, kind of get a support system, get a community. Him and the girl get together once he's ready though. You love to see it. A tier. Control, Alt, Resign. It's just a lot about like overworking yourself culture. The male lead is just kind of earning the affection of like the first female lead and the second one by being a good guy who's respectful of boundaries. He is very clear about that. A big conflict is that female lead specifically picks the male lead to work with because she feels comfortable around him, that he won't push any boundaries. When he starts liking this girl, it becomes a big thing of him not wanting to betray that trust. A very realistic conflict, and it's done really well. B tier. I'm gonna put it in between. God damn it! The Mafia Nanny. This one is exactly what it sounds like. It is super spy nanny who takes care of like a mob boss's kid. She took the job to figure out what happened to her family who were killed by the mob. The mob boss she works for wants to leave the mob. His uncle's evil and I think also killed his parents, or I think they killed his wife, the kid's mom. The kid's all messed up in the head. He's really excited to join the mob. He's like training for that. There's like this really nice conflict about the mafia nanny, I cannot remember her name, trying to provide like a safe environment for this kid to learn that he doesn't have to join the mob. He can just choose a different path. He can leave this cycle of abuse and murder. Really sweet. And then of course there's like slow burn romance between the mafia nanny and the dad, but that really hasn't gone anywhere with how far I've read. So sometimes you pick something up because you think it's going to be a romance and it ends up just being really wholesome. Good spy espionage. So yeah, A tier. Boyfriends rule. Pretty cute. This girl who has a crush on this guy, they're talking one day, like they're really close friends. The guy's talking about how he has a crush on somebody and she's like, oh, me too. You know, trying to like play it cool because they're in high school. And then he reveals that he's talking about someone completely different. So she has to adapt, picks out a random guy who happens to be friends with the guy she had a crush on. This guy sets them up. And it turns out that the guy she pointed out, the male lead, has actually had a crush on her for a while, and like this is his chance. It's really cute. Also, the guy she had a crush on, like the second half is dedicated mostly to him and the girl he likes. A good drama, continuing a romance with a second couple. It's great. It's a great way to continue the story and keep things flowing while not grinding everything to a halt. It works really well here. A tier. Love this one. Act Like You Love Me. This is the first webtoon I've ever read. Do I have nostalgia blinders on? Possibly. I really enjoyed it. This girl who finds a stuffed animal that is a voodoo doll for this really famous actor with social anxiety. She like runs into the actor and ends up hating him and then uses the voodoo doll to like kind of sabotage him a bit. But then he realizes, oh my God, you should use the voodoo doll to get around my social anxiety. And so they end up like teaming up. She's like his assistant trying to fix his social anxiety with a voodoo doll. They end up getting together and then he has character development, you know, gets past like a lot of his social anxiety, stuff like that. It doesn't completely drop the voodoo doll, which I really like, as a villain comes in later to try to force him to marry her using the voodoo doll. It's crazy. Also, the second male lead is really interesting to me. It's this guy who is a writer, went on dates with a bunch of women trying to figure out how to write female characters. He didn't really think of them as dates. And so all these women think he's just like a womanizer. He ends up not getting the girl, but he learns his lesson. He ends up not getting with anyone by the end, but there's hope for him, and that's what matters. A tier. Maybe meant to be? More like maybe meant to A tier. A tier. Yeah, Maybe Meant to Be is about a girl in her 30s who like has kind of completely washed up, is living with her parents, when she runs into a guy that she was like best friends with in childhood and lost contact with. And they both complain about how their parents want them to get married. And she makes just an offhanded joke that they should just get married. And then it just smash cuts to their wedding, then their honeymoon. It's a marriage of convenience. They are forced to live together. And it's just really cute. It's really wholesome. The romance, it moves at a good pace. It's not too slow, it's not too fast. It kind of reaches the perfect stopping point, and it would be S tier, except for the second season. It's interesting. It starts with them deserted on an island, and they have to survive for like weeks, which is a really weird change of pace. Not at all like how the webtoon was before, only for it to turn out they were on the mainland. They literally just had to walk 30 minutes and they would be at a hotel. They would be at the hotel they were staying at. They were just surviving on this beach for a while. Okay, I guess. Besides that, season 2 is mostly about this girl who like trying to find her purpose in life. A lot of people did not like season 2 at all, but I really enjoyed it. Again, I really like when a romance really takes this turn of someone trying to find their purpose in life or trying to grow as a person, and their relationship being there to help like support them through it. It's just wholesome. It's nice to see. It's a good way to keep it going. I like it. Love Me Not, a girl who can see invisible strings that tie soulmates together, except her string just doesn't attach to anybody. So she's like, I'm meant to die alone. One day in a coffee shop, she just sees a guy who also doesn't, like, his string is also cut. They immediately are like, why don't we just get together? They try that for a bit and then realize they have no chemistry, which is just really funny. That's fair. That makes a lot of sense. I really like that it's not that easy for them. She ends up getting with this other guy for like the first half of the webtoon. He also has a string cut, but it's revealed that he is also trying to force this to work, just trying to kind of be what he thinks she wants in order to have like a committed relationship. It's only after the main girl grows that she gets back with that guy she saw at the coffee shop, and they have like a really cute romance. I shouldn't just say the main girl has to grow. Like, that entire time is the main guy also growing as a person. Yeah, A tier. The Dawn to Come is about two high schoolers from abusive households that both stumble onto this abandoned house separately and then end up just kind of staying there to get away from their home lives as much as possible. It leads to them just kind of being roommates and looking out for each other. And then there's a 10-year time skip after they start to get feelings for each other. And you might be wondering, why am I talking about this in A tier when I've already talked about how much I hate 10-year time skip with Unlovable and Operation True Love? Well, this one actually does it well. I think their abusive households lend to a good reason as to why they wouldn't talk for 10 years. The guy is literally dragged away by his dad, away from the town they were in without warning. I mean, he's just like a prop to his dad, right? It makes a lot of sense. They grow a lot in those 10 years. They are very different people. It's not like a full reset, okay? Because they didn't confess to each other. I don't think. Actually, they might have. They might have confessed to each other, but I don't think they were like fully dating. I really like the main girl's development over the 10 years, especially. There's this second male lead who ends up trying to buy her affection with his family's fortune and like scholarship money because she's extremely poor. 10 years later, it picks up with her having made all these sacrifices and basically having to keep this terrible guy in her life at this weird arm's length in order to get an education and get a job and climb out of poverty. And the guy sucks. He's like quintessential nice guy. I think there's literally a scene where he shows up to her place drunk. Geez, it's so far to get to my house. I just crash on your couch, and then like tries to leverage that into doing more, which she, you know, pushes him away. It is kind of crazy to see how good she's gotten at pushing him away. It's uncomfortable. I don't know, like I really like that development. It's sad to see, but it's well done. Of course, they get into a relationship together, the main guy and main girl. You know, it's back to being wholesome, and now they are adults, not tied to their abusive households, and they're really able to start something new together. This one's great. A tier. Maybe S tier. I'm gonna put it in the middle of those two. Take My Money is about a rich girl who comes from like tons of generational wealth, who sees this guy on her college campus and goes, I'm gonna marry that guy, and then tries to buy his affection, which he's not all about. It's a comedy, really funny, seeing this like rich girl try her best to do these outlandish schemes. Over time though, it does become more serious as it kind of looks at the problems with generational wealth, how her family is inherently immoral for being so wealthy, which I just wouldn't expect from a webtoon. Spoiler warning for Take My Money, skip ahead maybe 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1. They lobotomized her? Her family lobotomized her because she was traumatized? If that's not the most wealthy family thing I've ever heard, I mean, that's dark, oh my God. They wiped her memories of like a traumatic incident. Whoa. And so like her happy-go-lucky persona is completely recontextualized. Oh, she's not just like a dumb rich girl, she's a victim. Holy, oh my God, A tier. Maybe S tier. Roots of the Heart, this guy who's forced to move to a rural town from the big city after his parents get a divorce. He's forced to stay with his mom and not his cool dad. Really wants his dad's affection. The first half of this is really dedicated to him learning that his dad is not a good person for neglecting him. That's not like him being cool and aloof. His dad just sucks. It's really realistically done. Like, the main guy starts out like a complete asshole and just hates everybody, but his development is very well done. This one's just phenomenal. Oh my God. Maybe S tier as well. Selfish Romance is about this girl who learns that her boyfriend never actually had feelings for her, was just dating her out of this like weird sense of pity and repayment for her helping his parents through a huge crisis in their life, feeling like he had some responsibility to support her. And so she breaks up with him, but still loves him. So decides to try and scheme to try and prove to him that he does actually have feelings for her when he does not. And then there's the main guy who is in a very toxic relationship with his girlfriend. She breaks up with him to try to make him like jealous, or she's very manipulative, right? And this is all manipulation tactics. So he decides to scheme and get back at his girlfriend. So the Selfish Romance is main guy and main girl pretending to date to make their exes jealous. And then they realize they have feelings for each other. I mean, come on. It's a fairly generic idea, but it's really the execution in which it is hitting it out of the park. Love this one. A tier. Once again, another simple idea, great execution, no office romance. Main girl, after high school, studied abroad in the US for like 8 years. Then went back to Korea for 2 years. This guy that she had like a will they won't they in high school with, and they were like close friends, didn't see her for 10 years. And then just randomly sees her one day. It's kind of them trying to figure out that relationship again. It's really funny, really good. There's a second couple who's great. I mean, there's not these crazy plot points with some of these funnier ones I'm talking about, but it is just solid, and it does all of these cliches and all of these tropes the best. A tier. Okay, now we're back to the crazy stuff. A Kiss Before I Sleep is about a girl who has the power to just explode anything nearby the second she gets anxious. She finds this guy who moves in across the hall from her. If they touch, it negates her powers for like a certain amount of time. So she's able to actually go out and live her life without worrying about, exploding people. Like, their relationship's just really fun to see. They're both like kind of flirty with each other, but then the second it like their flirts work, they immediately back off and get flustered. They aren't going anywhere because both of them are too anxious. I love this. The guy is a ghost. I'm not fully sure what that's about. I guess there was a fire that she got her powers in. He was also in the fire and he died. And then the darkness possessed him. It's really dragging out these reveals. I just got to the chapter where it's like, let's meet the parents. It's so much wholesome stuff. And then it randomly goes like, yeah, he's possessed by the darkness and the convenience store owner is a god. What? What do you mean? That convenience store owner has done nothing the entire time. It just occasionally cuts to him. Yeah, I know that guy's a goat. Okay, do something. A tier. Next up, we got childhood friend complex, best friends, hook up in college, then them just trying to navigate that. Yeah, I think my favorite part about this is learning that it is like an adult comic, and Webtoon has censored most of it. I was just like, that's weird, this chapter's really short. Most of it was censored. I still understood the plot perfectly, so that is impressive. I feel like the drama going on between them, it is a little generic. There is something where the guy is like, oh, what if we ruin the relationship? And it does sound generic for like a romance, but it's done well enough that I find it believable. A tier. Marriage Blues is about a girl who runs away from her wedding, only to find her ex-boyfriend driving a taxi outside, but the taxi is a time machine. They go back in time to prevent her from ever getting married. The ex-boyfriend is going back in time to make sure his ex never breaks up with him. I really like the main girl and her husband, like the one she runs away from. Their relationship is really engaging to me because he ends up also going back in time. So while she's trying to ruin their first date and stuff, he is like there. She doesn't know it's him from the future. He's just saying whatever to keep the date going so that she can't ruin it. There's like a big discussion about whether or not they actually have feelings for each other, and it's clear that the guy doesn't know. He might have had feelings for her, but he was too scared of the relationship actually ending and them getting divorced that he didn't even let himself consider the possibility until it was too late. Spoiler warning, skip 30 seconds ahead if you're really interested in marriage blues. 3, 2, 1. The guy's ex-girlfriend ends up being a karmic god who is immortal. She's super manipulative to him, specifically so that she can marry somebody to give away her godhood. She and him can be together for like their human lifespan. It's insane. I'm just not, her character doesn't make any more sense with that reveal. Which is really funny because that's what reveals are for. If not for that, it would be S tier. I just do not get what they were going for with that, so A tier. Villain with a Crush is about the main superhero that everybody loves, and so she decides to start trying to get his attention and unknowingly becomes a terrorist. Because she's that strong. She becomes like a very well-known villain. It gets into like the systemic issues of this superhero society. It ends with everybody joining and like taking up this identity she used as a villain, all just become terrorists. My Clueless Love Diary is about a girl who's like in the mafia family. She's been raised at home her entire life, and now she's going off to college to find herself and find love. And there ends up being 4 love interests who are just like biting for her affection. All of them have really good relationships. It uses tropes really well. Like the first one is her bodyguard, who has been her bodyguard her entire life. Like this kid was raised as a bodyguard. He didn't go to school, he went to bodyguard training. And then there's a guy from a rival mafia clan. Then there's the guy she was like meant to marry by her family, who's just like a really nice, solid guy. There's the one I was hoping for, who is, she went to kindergarten like one time and then a kid bullied her and her family destroyed that kid's family. They couldn't show their face in public anymore for a while. The kid who bullied her in kindergarten, who also goes to that college. They don't recognize each other for a while though. It's a great setup. It could have gone forever. She gets with one of them, it just ends. It cuts to their wedding. It's like, yeah, why stay any longer than you need to? Yeah, like, let's just, I genuinely wish it went longer, but you know what? It stopped before it was too much. And I respect that. A tier. Beastly Things. She's a werewolf, he's a werewolf hunter. It is super toxic. They are constantly manipulating each other. I can't get enough. I love this one so much. The world building's shockingly good. They're dynamic. There's a lot of shifting power in like what they know about the other. For most of it, the guy has had the upper hand on knowing she's a werewolf. She has no idea he's a werewolf hunter, though she is manipulating him because he has a special ability where werewolves touch him, they get stronger. But recently, I'm talking about the stuff that is coming out now, so skip this part if you don't want to hear Beastly Things spoilers. She's now aware that he's a vampire hunter, so it's kind of them both manipulating each other, but she really has the upper hand because he has no idea that she knows that he's a... Did I say vampire hunter? I meant werewolf. I love this one. S tier. It was supposed to be A. I love this one too much. Want to See My Cat is about a woman who lives her perfect life with her husband and her pets. She loves where she's at. And then she gets hit by a semi-truck. God talks to her and is like, I meant to hit a teenager with that semi-truck so that I could isekai them. But you stepped in. So I guess I could isekai you now. and she's like, I don't want to be isekai'd, I love my life. And God's like, okay, the best I can do is send you back in time 10 years. So God sends her back in time 10 years, basically repeat things exactly without like remembering what happened, because she wants to marry her husband again. But the reason she and her husband got together in the first place is because her husband's super hot and everybody loves him and he's constantly getting confessions. She was the only one who treated him like a person and didn't constantly hit on him. She forgets about that, treats him like her husband. He is immediately off put. It's such a good conflict. So want to see my cat comes from her trying to hit on him by being like, we have so many pets in the future, he's gonna want to see my cat. So she just like hits this guy, they barely know each other from his perspective, and she's like, do you want to come to my apartment to see my cat? And he's like, yeah, okay. So, oh shoot. It's really fun and really engaging, and then we get to the second half where we skip ahead 10 years. Now, they have almost the exact same life they had before, except they are super rich because this girl invested in all the right stocks that she could remember. The second go at life, she decides to try things differently. Before, they just owned a farm together, and she just kind of lived the rural life, but at the second go, she's like, maybe I want to actually use that college degree in architecture. She joins an architecture firm. The final arc is where things get really weird. Everything about this so far, S tier, easily. I'm genuinely gonna say spoilers for this part. If you are interested with this description so far, go read it for yourself. The final arc is her finding that girl who got isekai'd and being like, okay, I'm not gonna let her get hit by a truck. Her home life sucked. She was praying to be sent to a different world. She did not want to be here anymore. This girl basically has to interject herself into this random teenager's life that she doesn't know in order to save this girl from her terrible home life. However, the ending of this arc is the girl deciding, despite, like, they actually go in, they help, they prevent these like traumatic things from happening to her, they are a support system for her, and despite all that, the girl decides to still be hit by a truck. The happy ending, though, is God tells the main girl that yes, she still got hit by a truck, but she didn't want to be isekai'd this time. She wanted to be reborn as the main couple's kid. The main girl's pregnant with the teenager reborn. I read this like a year or two ago, and it just still, I think about it every once in a while, and I'm like, that's an insane plot point. I don't know, it's going here. 60% in S tier. That last part's just so strange. School of Street is about a guy who quit gymnastics after a major injury, learning that his classmate is all into breakdancing and is actually the sister of the K-pop idol that he really likes. They end up becoming friends, and he tries to learn breakdancing as well. Mostly just about him finding like a new passion after like such a traumatic incident with gymnastics. Him learning to like just try something else. It's just really sweet and wholesome, and all the characters are really good. Also, the music is fantastic. Webtoon does have a feature where authors are able to put kind of generic music over the background. This genuinely got me into new genres of music that I didn't know about. That's awesome. S tier for sure. See You in My 19th Life is about a girl who reincarnates while remembering her past lives. In her 18th life, she's born to a very rich family, and when she's 12 years old, she's forced to hang out with this other rich family's kid who's 10 years old. Immediately finds the kid like really endearing and starts to have like a little bit of a crush on him. 20 years later, she grows up in her 19th life. It is all about her trying to get back to that kid, get back to that guy after this traumatic event happened to him and he literally saw her die. The guy's trauma is not treated lightly. There's like this one description that stood out to me, him describing how he was pinned down in the car accident by her body and had to slowly feel as it got colder and colder. When he finally learns that she reincarnated, he still has to mourn the previous life and realize that they aren't fully the same person. He still lost that girl all that time ago. This is a new person still. The morality of this girl interjecting into her previous life's people and like problems. Her sister in her 18th life, she ends up accidentally befriending in her 19th, and her sister mourned her already, and now she's back. Like, what's the morality of that? This is really good, S tier. So apparently Ultimate X-Men's on Webtoons. I own all of those comic issues because, you know, I usually talk about comics. Now, Ultimate X-Men's one that I just didn't have plans to talk about because it has a lot to do with Japan's like political climate and a lot of their problems, which I'm just not super knowledgeable about. I'm just gonna take this chance to say it is really good. I really like it. S tier. S tier Webtoon right there. Couple Breaker. So main girl is really good fashion sense, is going to be a fashion designer. She's dating this guy who wants to be an actor, except he had terrible fashion sense. So she kind of helps him out and is very supportive to him, though he is still very insecure. And then there's this other couple with the main guy who plays the guitar sometimes. He's skilled at a lot of different stuff. He runs into this girl who he recognizes as a former K-pop idol who was fired, I think. Main guy and main girl being very supportive of their partners, and then their partners' insecurities really start to pile up and they cheat on them with each other. The way it portrays their insecurities makes it all very believable. The actual plot then kicks off. The two cheaters, I don't even know what to call them, actor guy and singer girl, both want to be famous, so they decide to go on a game show called Couple Breaker, in which 4 couples are invited on. The whole thing is tasks where they have to be like somewhat intimate. They have to split up into different pairings than their original couple. Main guy and main girl decide to pretend date and go on Couple Breaker specifically to break up the singer girl and actor guy. It's fantastic. I love this one. And then of course main guy and main girl end up falling for each other because they're both healthy and supportive people. The other 2 couples on Couple Breaker end up being like really compelling in their own right. Good idea. Wow. Okay, this isn't a romance, but Fogland Limbo is really good. About this teacher who goes to teach at a prison because he realizes that prisoners are just as deserving of education, only for them to be just straight up monsters, like actual monsters. It seems the government has just built a sort of prison around this supernatural source of energy that is mutating people. All of these people are actually insane. They all break out and the science teacher is basically kidnapped into the prison, calling it hell, and they were talking about the circles of the prison, and the main character's name is Dante, and it took me way too long to piece that together that it's Dante's Inferno. So Purple Hyacinth is one that genuinely, I think there's a chance people might have heard of even if they don't read Webtoons. It's that good. It kind of starts off with like assassin guy, police girl, you know, enemies to lovers, slow burn romance, except the slow burn is so slow that you just aren't reading it for the romance. You are reading it for the political commentary on how police add just as much to the cycle of violence as criminals do. That's awesome. Oh my God. I no words. Fantastic. I'm putting it above S tier. The Princess and the Boss is a satire. It really makes fun of that whole Nepo baby archetype I've been talking about a lot, of the guy who's like CEO of the company. The fantasy romance woman archetype where it's a princess with like magical powers. It's like a really good blend of both satires while still being a compelling romance of the two of them. Takes itself seriously when it needs to. Its art style is ridiculous, but it knows it and it uses it for comedy most of the times, but when it needs to be serious, you are invested enough. This is amazing. I read this all in one sitting and I was actually laughing. Not shoujo love story? So good. It's about this girl who desperately wants to have like this high school romance. So she picks a guy only to realize that this girl who hangs out with the guy a lot, like the guy's the president of the student council, and she's like, okay, the vice president girl, she's my competition. And so she tries to kind of threaten that girl a little. That girl's immediately into it because she has a crush on the main girl. And I love that. Oh, this is fantastic. It is hilarious. And it's not as much of a satire as The Princess and the Boss. It takes itself more seriously, but still, like, I laughed out loud at certain moments. There's this gang of like bully girls who make fun of the main character, and the second the female love interest confronts them, they immediately cower in fear and start giving their tragic backstory on how they're all orphans, and then start screaming it's game over. They are just a faceless mass of people. Fantastic. Change your story. A world where people are born with markings determining their role, and our main character is born a protagonist. People are born like extras, side characters, love interests, stuff like that. They are designated a role at birth. The protagonist, who is clearly supposed to be like a shonen protagonist, he has superpowers, he's constantly given plot hooks, and he wants none of it. So eventually he decides to try to change the genre of his story to a romance with his antagonist. So it's like, it's enemies to lovers, like shonen parody. The first time that the main character asks the love interest out, they immediately like shut down and then scream that they're not gonna let them talk no jutsu them. I was dying. That's so good. It goes on break so often, but I'll wait for it as long as it takes. I love that one. It's My Life is about a high school girl and guy who are both depressed and just simply don't want to keep going. An angel shows up in their house and is like, okay, before you go through with this, what if you just let somebody else take over your body so that your family members still have you around, and you will just go to heaven in their place. You'll just swap. That seems like a good deal, so they go through with it. And then they wake up like 15 years later. The people who have taken their bodies derailed their life completely. It turns out that it was a heaven real estate scam. So these two teenagers who are now stuck in their own 30-year-old bodies have to navigate a world in which they have made so many mistakes and done terrible things when someone else was piloting their body. It's them kind of just having to learn to have a new appreciation for life. And there's a romance between them. It's kind of a slow burn, but there's also like their love interests from when somebody else was piloting their body. The people who took over treated terribly. I really like their characters. Like the girl's fiance ends up being like genuinely concerned because she's acting so differently that he thinks she's like terminally ill. Starts like becoming a better person because of it, because he is kind of that guy trope. I love this one so much. My bias gets on the last train. It basically starts when this guy, he has a crush on this girl he sees at the train station all the time. One time, he forgets to plug in his headphones and playing an indie song he loves. She recognizes it and it starts a conversation. He does not know that she is the indie musician, and that is like kind of the thing. There's just like healthy communication. It's not like a super slow burn, but it's not ridiculously fast. It moves at a very believable pace. Their insecurities and fears going into a relationship are very relatable. The guy is worried he's still hung up on like his past kind of relationship with a girl that turned him down after they hung out a ton. It really shows why I read these webtoons. Maybe there is just something in like even with the formulaic tropes and cliches over and over, there is that individual authorship in each of them. There is something there. And this one specifically spoke to me. I mean, all of them have spoken to me in different ways. I can feel that author's voice, but this one genuinely helped me work through something that I've needed closure on for a long time. And that just means a lot. Okay, I'm in my little corner of shame now because for some reason the footage of me talking about the last two webtoons just got lost. I don't know where it went. So I'll just talk about them here real quick. Season of Blossom and Season of Lovesome are genuinely some of the most moving things I've ever read. The romances are super engaging. It is a romance webtoon, but also just really goes into the mental health of the characters, and I actually cried at this one. And it's like, I don't cry super easily at media. Like, that is the biggest endorsement I can give it. I was bawling my eyes out at one of these parts. I don't want to go into it too much for spoilers, because I genuinely think if you have at all been interested in anything I'm saying, read this one. I can't recommend it enough. All right, and with that, I am done. I was looking through my webtoon after recording that main section and realized that I did miss a few, but we are done. I'm not doing that again. That was a lot. I'm moving on with my life. Huge props to my editor on this video, Mitchie. I'll link her YouTube channel in the description, but she did a great job. I'm gonna be honest, this video was originally 6 hours of me just rambling. She really made this watchable. So huge thanks to her, and thank you for watching. I'm not really sure how to end videos. Goodbye.